The Second World War is a history of the period from the end of the First World War to July 1945, written by Winston Churchill. Churchill labeled the moral of the work as follows: in war, resolution; in defeat, defiance; in victory, magnanimity; in peace, goodwill. Churchill wrote the book, with a team of assistants, using both his own notes and privileged access to official documents while still working as a politician. The text was vetted by the cabinet secretary. Churchill was largely fair in his treatment, but wrote the history from his personal point of view. He was unable to reveal all the facts, as some, such as the use of ultra-electronic intelligence, had to remain secret. From a historical point of view, the book is therefore an incomplete memoir by a leading participant in the direction of the war. The book was a major commercial success in Britain and the United States. The first edition appeared in 6 volumes, later editions appeared in 12 and 4 volumes, and furthermore there is also a single-volume abridged version. When Churchill assumed office in 1940, he intended to write a history of the war then beginning. He said several times, "I will leave judgments on this matter to history, but I will be one of the historians." To circumvent the rules against the use of official documents, he took the precaution throughout the war of having a weekly summary of correspondence, minutes, memoranda and other documents printed in galleys and headed Prime Minister's personal minutes. These were then stored at his home, and Churchill wrote or dictated letters and memoranda with the intention of placing his views on the record, for later use as a historian. The arrangements became a source of controversy when the Second World War began appearing in 1948. Churchill was a politician, not an academic historian, and was leader of the opposition, intending to return to office, so Churchill's access to cabinet, military and diplomatic records denied to other historians was questioned. It was not known at the time that Churchill had done a deal with Clement Attlee and the Labour government, which came to office in 1945. Attlee agreed to allow Churchill's research assistants access to all documents, provided that no official secrets were revealed. The documents were not used for party political purposes, and the typescript was vetted by the cabinet secretary, Sir Norman Brooke. Brooke took a close interest in the books and rewrote some sections to ensure that British interests were not harmed or the government embarrassed. Churchill's privileged access to documents and his knowledge gave him an advantage over other historians of the Second World War for many years. The books had enormous sales in both Britain and the United States and made Churchill a rich man for the first time. The gathered documents were placed in chronologies by his advisors, and this store of material was further supplemented by dictated recollections of key episodes, together with queries about chronology, location and personalities for his team to resolve. Churchill also wrote to many fellow actors requesting documents and comments. Once all was collected and collated, Churchill began writing in earnest, dictating almost all of the work, with the notable exception of several long passages in Volume 1. As various archives have been opened, several deficiencies of the work have become apparent. Some of these are inherent in the position Churchill occupied as a former Prime Minister and a serving politician. He could not reveal ongoing military secrets, such as the work of the code breakers at Bletchley Park, or the planning of the atomic bomb. As stated in the author's introduction, the book concentrates on the British war effort. Other theaters of war are described largely as a background. The descriptions of the fighting on the Eastern Front and to a lesser extent, of the Pacific War are sketchy. Although he is usually fair, some personal vendettas are aired, for example against Sir Stafford Cripps, at one time considered by some the only possible alternative wartime Prime Minister to Churchill. He modified a number of passages when he learnt that General Dwight Eisenhower was to run for the U.S. presidency, removing any remarks which might harm the special relationship which he intended to establish, or re-establish, with the new president.